Today we are going to start with array. So is it visible what I have writing on the screen?
सर थोड़ा डार्क लिख लो.
I am trying to. Okay. Now
Yes sir.
Yes,
it is
sir.
okay. Okay. So our today topic is about array.
Yes, sir.
Arrays are, as you are aware about the variables. What are the variables? What are the variables? Variables are the memory location where the value can change. So कुछ याद भी है कि सब कुछ भूल गए हो? So we have a memory. In the memory, when we declare a variable, when, for example, if I write x is equal to 5, so what happened in the memory is that some memory location which has some address, suppose its address is 101, and it is given the name x, and the value stored in the memory is 5. Now, this is single variable that can store only one value. But sometimes we require to store multiple values in the variable. Multiple values are there. For example, I want to store the marks of the student. Marks of student. Okay. So to store the marks of student, if I have 5 subjects, for example, I have 5 subjects, then what is the technique? To store the marks of 5 subjects, one method is I can create 5 variables: subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, subject 4, subject 5. Okay. And what happened in the memory is, suppose here it is 1, then here it is subject 2, then what is computer doing? Computer is allocating the memory area. So when I declare subject 1, computer try to find out the free location from the memory. Suppose it find out 301 as a free location, and it gives the name subject 1 to this location 301. I declare subject 2, computer again try to find out a free area. Suppose this time it finds at the location 250. Then it will allocate the subject 2 variable to this particular location. Similarly, when subject 3 is allocated, again we can have different location. It may be 299. Similarly, when subject 4, for subject 4, it can be 95. For subject 5, it can be any location that is free at that time. It may be 85. So all the variables are scattered along the memory. They are not at the same position, same location. They are not contiguous. So they are scattered in the memory. So this is only for 5 subjects. So we have to declare the 5 different variables. But if we have 15 subjects, then we have to declare 15 variables. And if we have 100 subjects, then we have to declare 100 variables. So this method is not appropriate. So what is required? We have a array. Array can help us in this particular scenario where we want to declare multiple variables at the same time. So how can array help us? What are the arrays? Arrays are contiguous collection of, these are contiguous. Contiguous means they are lie with one another. See? So contiguous location, and they contain values of same data type. all the values should have same data type. So these are the homogeneous. This is another name is homogeneous. This is a homogeneous collection of the values of same data type. So homogeneous means all the values. Here homogeneous means the data type of all the values should be same. And contiguous means whenever we allocate the memory, all the memory locations are side by side. They are not apart, they are side by side. So these are the two properties of array, that whenever we declare an array, we have a contiguous memory allocation and they have homogeneous data type. Homogeneous means all the values should have the same data type. It is not possible to store the float values along with the integer values. If all the values are float, then only float values are allowed. If all the values are integer, then only integer values are allowed. If all the values are character, then only character values are allowed. So whenever you declare an array, so whenever we are talking about an array, we are allocating contiguous memory locations. So whenever, so there are three parts. One is address, another is name of array, third one is size of array, and fourth one is index number, indexing. Okay, so whenever we declare an array, we have to provide some name. For example, when we declare a variable, we have to give the name. So, if I write x is equal to 5, now what is x is the name of the variable. In the similar way, when I have to declare an array, I have to provide the name of the array. So first thing is the name of the array. Second thing is size. How many elements will be there? So you have to provide the size. Size can be fixed or it can vary. Some languages provide fixed size array. Whenever you use the array, you have to define the size of the array also, that you want to store 5 values, 10 values, 100 values in advance. Like in the C language, in C++ language, in Java language, the arrays are of fixed size. Then there is variable size. Variable size means the size of the array can increase or decrease according to the requirement. If initially I know that I have only 10 values, so I can start with the 10 location. Later on, I may find out that, okay, 10 locations are not sufficient. I need 20 locations. So I can expand the size of my array. So some languages allow this kind of expansion. During execution, you can expand the size of the array, but other languages may not support the expansion of the array. So these are fixed size array and variable size array. So Python supports variable size array. So you can increase or decrease the size of the array as per your requirement. Third part is address. As every variable is associated with some address, in the similar way, every array location is also associated with some address. Suppose if I allocate an array of 5 locations, then every location will have an address. Suppose it is 101, 105, 109, 1113. Okay, so every location is associated with an address. So if it is an array of integer, and suppose the first address allocated is 101, this is the first address. So when I declare an array of integer of size 5, this means 5 locations, contiguous locations. These are contiguous locations will be allocated. 5 contiguous locations will be allocated. Contiguous means they are side by side. So first of all, system will try to find out the 5 contiguous locations. If it is not able to find out the contiguous location, then the array will not be declared and you will have some error message. But generally, because we have sufficient RAM, So 5 contiguous locations, wherever they are available, they will be allocated. And first address will be whatever the first address of all those locations. Suppose in our case, the first address is 101. Then what will be the second address? That depends upon the data type. Depends on data type. Because every data type, every kind of data require different kind of memory. Integer requires 4 bytes, character requires 2 bytes, float requires 8 bytes, and so on. So if I am declaring an array of integer, so if I'm declaring an array of integer, because integer requires 4 bytes, so the first element will be requiring the 4 bytes from 101 to 104. 101 to 104, that will be allocated to the first element. Similarly, second element also require 4 bytes, so the address of second element will be starting from 105. Similarly, address of the third element will be starting from 109. And if it is an array of character, then if the first element is first address is 101, then the second address will be 103 because of the requirement of 2 bytes for each character. One character will require 2 bytes, so 2 bytes for every location will be allocated. So first address, if it is 101, then the second address will be 103 and the third address will be 105 and so on. Similarly, if it is an array of float and the first address is 101, then what will be the second address? What will be the second address? Because float requires how many bytes? 8 bytes. Float requires 8 bytes. So what will be the second address?
109.
109. Okay. Because first location will be of 8 bytes. After 8 bytes, next address will be 109. So 101 plus 8, that will become 109. And similarly, you can also calculate the next addresses. So one thing to keep in mind is that all the locations are contiguous. If you know the first address, you can calculate the next address. If you know the first address, this first address is called base address. This first address is called base address. And the address of any element is equal to, it is base address plus scale factor multiplied by index number. So this is the formula for calculating any address. So if I want to find out the third element, so I will use this formula to find out the address. Because computer need address. Computer does not know about the name or about the index number or about the location. Computer only knows the address. If I want to set some value, I must tell the computer some address. For example, if I write x is equal to 5, so how will computer find that where to store the 5? So there is a table at the back end where we have the entry that x is at 201. So computer will check in this table, find out the address and store the value at 201. Okay. Similar way, when we have array, so computer uses this to calculate the address of the formula to calculate the address of any element. Okay. Now the element at the first location is given, third is my indexing. So I know about the name of the array, I know now size of the array, I have idea about the address of the memory location, and my now last point is indexing. How to refer the elements of the array. So I can refer by providing a number. That number is that I want to access the first element, second element, third element, fourth element, and so on. So this number is called index, and index starts from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I have 5 locations, then the index will start from 0, goes up to 4, and total values are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total values are 5 because indexing always starts from 0. So the maximum value is 1 less than the total number of values. If I have 5 values, then the indexing will go up to 4. If I have 20 values, then the index number will go up to 19, from 0 to 19. Okay, so using this index number, I can find out the location of every element. For example, okay, name, I am leaving left the name. Suppose the name of this array is marks. Okay, so marks is the name of the array. This is indexing. Here in this side we have index number, and these are address, and these locations will contain the value. Okay, so now everybody get what is address, what is value, what is index number, and what is the name of the array. Okay, so I am again, let us create again new diagram. So here we have array of 5 locations, 3, 4. We have index numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have addresses 101, 105, 109. Okay, and we have a name also. The name of this address, this array is marks. Okay, now if I want to find out the value of location of index number 1, so I will write marks 1. So square bracket is used for indexing. Square bracket is used for indexing name of the array, square bracket, index number, and square bracket close. So this means marks 1. I am asking the system to find out this location. If I write marks 1 is equal to 5, now how system will calculate the address? System required to find out the address of this location, which is basically 105. To find out the address of the location, we can use the formula base address plus index number multiply by scale factor. Now what is this scale factor? Scale factor is basically size of data type, and index number is we have provided in the square bracket, and base address, where is this base address? Base address is stored in the name of the array marks. Base address is stored in the name of the array. So marks is the name of the array. It contains the base address. So this address marks 1, how it is calculated? Base address 101 plus index number 1 multiply by scale factor. It is 4 in case of integer. It is 4 for integer, 2 for character, 8 for float, and so on. Okay, so whatever the size of the data type, accordingly your scale factor will change. And using the index number, base address, and scale factor, computer will calculate the actual address. So that comes out to be 101 plus 4, that is equal to 105. So this address has been calculated, and after that assignment operator, what it does? It will transfer this value to the location. So we will have value 5 here. Got my point? So if I write marks 3 is equal to 7. So how the address will be calculated? Now tell me the steps. How this address will be calculated? How computer will find out where, what is the address of marks 3? It is, base address is
101
101 plus,
plus
what next?
3, 3
Index number is
multiply
3 multiplied
4,
by
4.
4. Scale factor is 4. Okay, so the formula becomes 101 plus
713.
12, that is 113. So we are talking about this address. So computer will find out the address and thereafter it will store the value 7 at that particular location. Got my point? In the
Yes,
similar
sir.
way, if I write int marks 3, what will happen? Again, it will calculate this address. It will find out the address 113 using this formula and print whatever value at that particular position. So it will print the value 7 on the screen. Okay. So what is the importance of index number? Index numbers are used to assess the memory location. We have one name. We have only one name, and within that name, how can you assess the location? Using the index number. So it all is equivalent to your apartment. Now let us correlate with apartment. Okay, so there is a building. That building contains number of apartments. Okay, one building, number of apartment. In building, we have apartment number 1, apartment number 2, apartment number 3, so 4 and so on. So this building representing an array and apartments are representing the location. So to go to a particular apartment, what is required? You need the name of the building as well as number of the apartment. So this is the name of the building and this is number of the apartment. Index number is equivalent to number of the apartment. Name of the array is equivalent to name of the building. Got my point? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is about arrays. So all the memory locations are contiguous. Contiguous means they are side by side. They are not apart. There is no gap between the locations. All the locations are connected with each other. So what we have already covered, that is called one-dimensional array. This is called one-dimensional array. In the similar way, we have two-dimensional, three-dimensional, and n-dimensional arrays. In two-dimensional arrays, we have a table-like structure. This is one-dimensional array. Okay. Location index number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If we attach one more array with this, we will get two-dimensional array. 0 location, 1 location. We can expand this up to any level. So we have number of rows and number of columns in a two-dimensional array. So this is called two-dimensional array, which is represented by two values. Two values. One is row, another one is column. So whenever we declare an array A with two values 3, 4, this means number of rows and this means number of columns. So we are talking about 3 rows, 4 columns. Every index number, these are really index number. So every index number starts from 0. So if we have 3 rows, the index number from the row side will go from 0, 1, 2. Okay. And on the column side, we have 4 index numbers. So it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, one more is there. Right? So this will not be there. Okay. Now 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 4 columns are there and 3 rows are there. Now, how the elements are assessed? In the single dimensional array, we write the index number like this. But in two-dimensional arrays, every element has two locations. One is from the row side, another one is from the column side. So every array has two locations. So how we can access those two locations? By writing both of the values. 0, 0. 0, 0 means 0 row, 0 column. We are talking about this cell. A, 1, 3. First row and third column. We are talking about this value. Okay. So, is your next lecture free?
सर
Hello?
12 o'clock है मैथ की क्लास.
We are, you have free time from 11 to 12 also, hai na? So we'll take
Yes, sir.
10 more minutes, then we will cover it up. Okay, then you are getting two-dimensional array. So in two-dimensional array, what we have to do is we have to extend one dimension, which is representing the column. One row, one dimension. First dimension is for the row purpose, second dimension is for the column purpose. And to represent any location, we have to use both row value as well as column value. So if I write A2, 2, that means I am talking about 2 and 2, this value. I am talking about this value. So if I write A22 is equal to 5, this means I am placing value 5 here. So using index access any location. Okay. Now how this is stored in the memory? Because my memory is linear. Linear means my memory is linear. Linear means there is no rows and no columns in the memory. Okay. So memory is a state. It is just a collection of flip-flops, collection of some elements that can store the charge. And every location has address 101. So like there will be some from starting from 0, there will be some maximum values. And now what is happening when we are declaring single dimension array, some memory locations are allocated. But what happens if we are allocating two-dimensional array? In the two-dimensional array, we can store the values in memory either column-wise or row-wise. Different mechanisms are there. Some languages use column-wise, some languages use row-wise. So, what do you mean by column-wise? Column-wise means first this column will be stored. That means we will store the value 0, 0, then 1, 0, then 2, 0. When the first column is complete, then we store the next column. Then we will there will be 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. Then there will be 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2 and 2, 2. Got my point? So first all the values of first column are stored, then all the values of second column are stored, then all the values of third columns are stored, and so on. This is called column-wise storage of memory, storage of array. Got my point? So array can be stored column-wise, or another way is you can store the array row-wise. Row-wise means first we will store the first row. So first row is this one. So we will store this first row. That means the first element will be 0, 0, second element will be 0, 1, third element will be 0, 2, and fourth element will be 0, 3. When the first row is complete, then we will store the second row at the next location. That means 1, 0, then 1, 1, then 1, 2, then 1, 3. After that, 2 0, 2 1, 2 2, and 2 3. So this is called a row-wise storage of memory. Got my point? Any doubts till now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so there are two ways to store the array into the memory. Because our memory is linear, this is the conceptual view. Conceptual view means it is in our mind. Actual storage is linear. Got my point? So conceptual का मतलब क्या हो गया? It is only in our mind. We are thinking this particular arrangement of storing the values as a table, where we have rows and we have columns. But in actual, this is stored in a linear way, one after another. So there are two different approaches. Either we can store column wise or we can store row wise. Accordingly, some languages store column wise, some languages store row wise. Python use the method row wise. Which method is used? Row wise. Python store the values row wise. That means it will store first row, then it will store second row, then it will store third row, then it will store fourth row, and so on. Got my point? So that is about two-dimensional array. In the similar way, we can extend this particular concept into three-dimensional array. Now, in the three-dimensional array, what is happening? We have first dimension, second dimension, okay, and third dimension, second dimension. Yeah, so this is two-dimensional हो गया. First, we will cover one dimension. Combining the one-dimensional array, we will create the two-dimension. Combining the two-dimensional array, we can create a three-dimension. So there is third dimension also. Behind this table, if I store another table, so this is first table, this is first dimension, because this, and this is second dimension, third dimension. Okay, so we can extend this concept up to three dimension also. When we combine a block, so this is row 0, 1, 2. This is column 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is along the z-axis 0, 1, 2. And every cell location has address. In the similar way, now we will write three values to assess every location. Okay, so three values. For example, if I write 0, 0, 0, 0 row, 0 column, and 0 z-index, that is your this particular cell. And if I write 2, let it be 0, row wise 1, and column wise 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so I am talking about 0, 1, this, and 2 means this. So I am talking about this cell. So in the similar way, you can extend this concept. So you can assess any element using the index number. In the three dimensions, we have three index number. One is for x-axis, another one is for y-axis, third one is for z-axis. And the structure is in cube form. And after that, we have fourth dimension also. After that, we have 5 dimensions also, 6 dimensions also, and we can extend this particular concept up to n dimension. But visualizing the array beyond third dimension is not possible, because we can draw only n plus 1 dimension. So if our plane is 2 dimension, we can draw the figure up to 3 dimension. Okay, so if we have plane, because my paper is a plane, it is 2 dimension, and in the 2 dimensional space we can draw up to 3 dimension. And to represent the fourth dimension, we need a three-dimensional space. In the four-dimensional space, we can draw the five dimensions. But because we don't have any such space, so it is not possible to visualize the fourth dimension, third dimension, fifth dimension, sixth dimension array. So the concept is similar. You can add as much dimension as you want. There is no end. But in general, three dimensions are sufficient for all the applications. For 90% application, third dimension, three-dimensional arrays are sufficient to store the data. Beyond that, there are very complex program like scientific calculation, some large scientific program. They maybe require the higher dimension, but in theory, in practice, third dimension is sufficient. So we are going to cover only one dimension, two dimension, and if required, we will go through the third dimension also. You should understand about the one dimension and two dimension very carefully, three dimension also, and the concept is similar for the four dimension, fifth dimension. You can extend the concept up to any level. Got my point? So we have one dimension array, two dimensional array, and three dimensional array. So we will start with the first dimension only, then we will cover the second dimension in the future lectures. So I hope the concept of array is clear to you now. Any doubt from the arrays?
No, sir.
No sir.
It is clear.
सर स्केल
So we
फैक्टर
have,
ऑलवेज 4 रहेगा इंटीजर के लिए.
integer. That depends upon language again. Different languages have different data type storage. For example, in C language, integer is of 2 bytes. But for Python language and for Java language, so Python and Java language, the scale factor for integer is 4 bytes. Okay.
Okay,
So it
sir.
again depends upon language to language.
Okay, sir.
Because we are covering the Python language, so for the Python language, the scale factor of integer is 4. Okay. So that formula is very simple. Now again, why the index number always starts from 0? This question is also, the answer of this question is also in the formula. For example, again, let's look about the formula. Address of location is equal to, address of location is equal to base address plus scale factor multiply by index number. Okay. So suppose base address is 101 and scale factor is 4. Okay. And our address starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. Address is suppose 101, 105, 109 and 113. Okay. Now to calculate the address of any location, we need this address. And to calculate the address of first location, which is 101 itself, which is the base address itself. So that to get the first address, what is required? It is required that this term should become 0. Only then we can get the first address. Got my point? Or not?
Yes,
address
sir.
of location is base address plus scale factor into index number. Now the first address, that is also known as base address, that is stored in the name of the array. Name of the array. To get this particular location 101, what is required? We can, if something is added to this location, if something is added to this 101, it will always become more than 101. Okay. To get the value 101, that is the first address, what is required? That this term should become 0. Only then we will get the address 101. Okay. So in this term, there are again two terms, scale factor and index number. Now scale factor cannot be 0 because it is the size of the memory location that is required. Okay, so scale factor cannot be 0. What can we make 0 is index number only. So if index number is not 0, if there is no index number that is 0, then we cannot get the first address. In order to get the first address, we need that index number always start from 0. Okay, so
Yes,
when
sir.
it starts from 0, if the index number is 0, this whole term will become 0 and we will get the first address. If we start our index number from 1, then our first address always comes out to be 105. We will never get this value 101. Okay, so that's why index number always starts from 0.
0.